Apple TV Plus is the best streaming service. It mightn't be the one I tune into most often, but I have the most respect for it because the people running it seem to be more focused on quality over quantity, at least when compared with rivals such as Netflix or Disney Plus. While most of their films aren't great, you can tell that they are genuinely trying. The same goes for their TV shows. While they haven't found their sweet spot with how to budget films and how long to release them in cinemas for, recent films like Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Blitz, and Fly Me to the Moon have many elements worth admiring and enjoying. The upcoming F1 also looks really cool. They also have one Best Picture winner under their belt in 2021's Coda, so I think it is clear that they have a bright future ahead. For all these reasons, whenever they release a new original film on their service, my interest is piqued, and that is coming from someone who largely ignores straight-to-streaming films, but I had to check out the new film The Gorge because of the concept and cast. It also had a pretty neat trailer. The Gorge is a new sci-fi horror action film, directed by Scott Derrickson and written by Zach Dean. It stars Miles Teller, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Sigourney Weaver. Teller and Taylor-Joy play two highly trained operatives who grow close from a distance after being sent to guard opposite sides of a mysterious gorge. When an evil below emerges, they must work together to survive what lies within. This review will be spoiler-free. I had a great time watching this film, and I think that it should have been in cinemas, at least for a short run. It reminded me of the kind of action blockbusters we got in the early to mid-2010s, films like Edge of Tomorrow, for example. I genuinely wasn't sure what was going to happen next all throughout. There is a point about 40 minutes into the film where the story starts doing things I didn't think it would do until its third act, so it was quite fun and thrilling. Many of the original films on Apple TV Plus can be bloated, and at 127 minutes, I was expecting this to be, but I just couldn't look away. I didn't even think about turning it off, which I often do with streaming films. The film had the perfect blend between serious intensity and fun escapism. Scott Derrickson is no stranger to sci-fi or horror, known for The Exorcism of Emily Rose, Sinister, Doctor Strange, and The Black Phone. I don't necessarily love those films, but they all have many great things about them. Derrickson turns in another solidly directed film here. It is actually quite a good-looking film. I was particularly happy with the lighting, because this film often takes place at night or in dark places, and the actors are always lit in a clear way, and the film is color graded to perfectly avoid the kind of muddy picture you often get in modern films of this nature. The CGI and green screen are not great, but they do a pretty good job pulling it all off because of how they light the scenes. There are some pretty good practical effects in there too, with great set and production design. I enjoyed the lore in the film. It took its time with its world building, and while it didn't take itself too seriously, it felt reasonably unique in its presentation. The action is pretty well staged thanks in large part to the physicality of the two leads. Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy have been doing great work for years now, and they bring their A-game here. They play Levi and Draza, and they have great chemistry. I was genuinely invested in these characters, as the script does a good job of making them well-rounded and building them up throughout the film. There are a lot of fun, light-hearted sequences of them communicating from across the gorge through writing on whiteboards, practicing their aim, and dancing to Draza's record collection, which provided a pretty dope soundtrack for the film. I would totally watch another film featuring these characters on some kind of mission together because they were well written and well acted characters. I love Sigourney Weaver, and she does a great job in her small supporting role. Teller also serves as an executive producer on the film. This film is a lot of fun. It is well crafted and well acted, and yet another example as to why Apple TV Plus is the best streaming service. Apple is committed to crafting original films that are based on quality over quantity. They don't produce a copious amount of films every year that are just really boring and really cheap. They respect their audience. They want to be a genuine player in the game. They are slowly building themselves up as a film studio worth recognizing among the big players. Apple has a bright future ahead. I absolutely recommend The Gorge for fans of Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy, and fans of sci-fi, horror, and action. I really wish that this had a theatrical release, because then more people would be talking about it. Regardless, especially in the comfort of your home, The Gorge will not disappoint.